Wow, it's nice to be back in Provo. Even nicer, they dropped the charges and let me come back to Provo. Oh. Anyway, I gotta tell you, my wife and I recently celebrated our 37th wedding anniversary. That's right. 37 consecutive years, all in a row. And we were up in Montana in June. I got my first speeding ticket in over 20 years in Montana. Believe me, that takes some work. Speed limit was 80 miles an hour. And we're driving, and I set the cruise at 95. And Tammy, after about 5 minutes, says, aren't you going too fast? And I said, no, this is Montana. They don't write tickets for under 100. They really don't. She goes, who told you that? I go, I don't know, it's just common knowledge. So about 2 minutes later, a Porsche shoots past me. If I'm doing 95, he's doing 115, 120. I mean, he just, boom. And a minute later, I see the lights. And I say, see, he's gonna get a ticket. So imagine my surprise when the cop locked in behind me and pulled me over. I couldn't wait for him to get to the window. Did you see the Porsche? He goes, yeah, it was after him, and then you showed up. What? And he says, if you had slowed down, I wouldn't have pulled you over, but who doesn't slow down for the police? And my wife says, my husband said you don't write tickets for under 100. And the cop goes, where did he hear that? So anyway, he gets my license, and he starts having a conversation with me, a little chit-chat, a little small talk. He goes, oh, Tennessee? I go, yeah, Tennessee. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm doing 95. Obviously, I'm in a hurry. How about writing the ticket a little quicker? Let's get going. Only one of us is getting paid by the hour here. It's not me. And how many people are like me, you know, as he's right, you're thinking, how fast do I got to go to make up this 10 minutes? For all you people who are in math class that raised their hand and said, when am I going to ever use the story problem in my real life? This is your moment. I got 48 miles. I had 45. Now I got 35 minutes. I got 142 miles an hour. I'm going to be late. Come on. And they always ask you if you were aware of how fast you were going. Are you aware? Oh, well, yeah, I got a speedometer right in front of me. The only thing I was unaware of is where you were sitting. That's it. I mean, you know. So anyway, I get in the car and I set the speed at 95 again, and Tammy goes, you're speeding? I go, what are the odds I get 2 in one day? Come on. We did a lot of driving in Montana, and after about 2 days, I looked at her, I said, you know, this is sad, but we're at a point in our marriage where every conversation we have turns into a game of charades. We honestly can't remember a thing. We really can't. It's a game show. We just start guessing and going, no, that's not. She'll say, I saw that guy you worked with in New York on TV the other night. And I'll go, oh yeah, what guy was that? And she'll go, you know, that guy. I go, no, I don't. That's why I'm asking you. You brought it up. And then it just starts, you know, was it New York City? I don't know, New York City, well, Buffalo, Rochester, I don't know. It was New York. I go, okay. Help me out. What did he look like? Well, he was a white guy. Well, that narrows it down, sweetheart. Was he tall, short? Well, your height, so 6 foot, 6'1". Well, he wasn't that tall. Then he's not my height. Goes on for 5 more minutes. We never come up with a name. She drifts off and looks out the window until the next game show. Now she's using Alexa to fill in her memory problems. I mean, it really is. I'm not kidding you. I'll hear her reminders all day coming out of Alexa. Reminder for Tammy, you know, tomatoes on the grocery list. You know, reminder for Tammy, 2 o'clock doctor's. And my favorite one, reminder for Tammy, at dinner tonight, feign interest in Jeff's golf story. I'm not kidding. Anybody got an Alexa? She's now beginning to chime in our conversations as if she's a member of our family. Tammy brought up her friend Alice. Apparently Alice saw me at the airport and waved at me, and Tammy says, you completely ignored her. And I said, I didn't even see Alice. And Alexa goes, should I order see Alice for Jeff? And I said, nobody's even talking to you, lady. Come on. You know where this AI is headed. You know where it's headed. Your wife is going to say something like, don't forget we have dinner with the Johnsons tomorrow night. And you're going to say, I'm not eating with the Johnsons. I don't like them. And she's going to go, you agreed to this. And you say, I would never have agreed to that. And Alexa will go, Jeff, you agreed to dinner with the Johnsons 17 days, 12 hours, and 7 minutes ago. And then she'll say, Tammy, would you like me to play back the conversation? And you know what's coming after that. That's what's coming after that. Yeah. Our living room lights are connected to Alexa, so, I mean, we have a nighttime ritual. Tammy says, I'm going to bed. She just stands up and goes, I'm going to bed. And okay, I got about 10 or 15 minutes. It takes her that long to put the creams and oils on, so it's just... So anyway, I got to close up the house. So I'll say, Alexa, turn off light 1, Alexa, turn off light 2, Alexa, and then I'll set her alarm and I'll go to bed. Now, we live in the country. We live rural Tennessee. Our Wi-Fi is just not all that good. So there's nights I say, Alexa, turn off light 1, and she starts this mantra. I'm unable to connect right now. You need to get your router. And she starts giving me directions on routers and things, and I just, wait for her to stop talking, and I'll say, Alexa, turn off light 1. I'm unable to connect right now. And sometimes it takes 4 or 5 times to get her to turn out the light. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, hey, why don't you just walk over and turn out the light? I've thought about it, but then, I pay her to do it, so that's why I'm not going to... What are you, Gen Z, Alexa? So one night I got to close up shop. I got to go to the bathroom, and I tell Tammy to close up the house. And this is what I hear. I come out of my living room. Tammy says, Alexa, turn off light 1. She goes, I'm unable to connect right now. And Tammy interrupts her. Doesn't even let her finish. She just interrupts her. Alexa, be quiet. I'm talking to you. And Alexa's going, and now Alexa, she's just swimming. She's just, it's just jabber. And Tammy's going, be quiet, Alexa. I'm talking to you. Now shut up. And then Tammy loses her mind. She's just going, Alexa, Alexa, Alexa. I got to run out and put my hands on her shoulders. Baby, take a breath. You see that blue light spinning round and around and around? That's her brain. Let the blue light go out. I know you imagine these two tech giants standing together in the living room, but yeah. Let the blue light go out. So light went out. I said, Alexa, turn off light 1. Light 1 went out. I said, sweetheart, you got to know how to talk to a woman. Trust me, there is dating romance and there is marital romance. And the two are about as related as walking through a field and walking through a field full of Claymore mines. They are not even closely related. When we were dating, I'd come off the road, she'd pick me up inside the airport, she'd greet me like I was a soldier coming off a war. She'd throw her arms around me and I'd give her a kiss and she'd go, you call that a kiss? You said you love me. Kiss me like you love me, soldier. And I'd kiss her, and I'm thinking, this marriage thing's gonna be great. You throw a couple kids on that, and boy, I'll tell you what. I'm driving home from the airport, and I got romance on my mind, and you know what? You walk in and give her a kiss, and she completely misses the whole thing. She didn't even notice the kiss. You know what your sons did today? And you know when they're your sons, this isn't good. Your youngest son felt the load in his diaper was too much to carry around. He took the diaper off and threw it on the couch. The dog walked by, saw the diaper, thought it would make a nice mid-morning snack. And then your oldest son came in, saw the shredded diaper, thought he would clean up the evidence so nobody would get in trouble. And I thought, well, great, he threw it in the trash can. She goes, no, if he was my son, he would have put it in the trash can. He's your son. He put it in the VCR. He put a dirty diaper in the VCR. And then she says, you know what that means? I go, yeah, we got to buy a new VCR. She goes, oh, no, you're cleaning out the VCR. I go, no, I'm not. What are VCRs? $9? We'll buy another one. Oh, no, you're cleaning it out. She hands me chopsticks. You're going to clean this out? I spent an hour picking stuff out, and I heard her laughing in the other room. Don't tell me she's sick. And don't misunderstand me, believe me. There's times she walks in a room and I lose my breath at how beautiful she is to me. I mean, even after, yeah. Well, not all the time. I'm not a freak, okay? You know. I call them divine moments. These are moments that God uses flint on your heart and your mind. It's just, and you're surfing, she's walking around, you're not even noticing, and it's like, look at her, and and then you have to remember the first time you laid eyes on your wife, and it's like, remember, white blouse, short leather skirt, 80s perm. And you think, that's a lot of work. They say, I've heard this, that women are like onions. There are layers and layers and layers, and they're complex. And it takes years to get to reveal all these things. And it makes sense to me, because like an onion, nobody's made me cry more than Tammy. So here's one. About a month and a half ago, we're eating dinner at a really nice restaurant. She looks on the menu, and she says, they have lobster. I go, yeah, they do. She goes, I love lobster. It's my favorite. And I look at her, and I go, since when? You've been married 37 years. This is the first I've heard of your lobster thing. And she goes, oh, no. Well, they're so expensive. And I said, I can spring for one lobster a year, babe. Look, we'll Dave Ramsey it. I'll put $4 in an envelope every week. $4 in an envelope every week. 52 weeks, we'll have $208. Walk into the restaurant, I'll plunk all 52 envelopes on the counter. Get this woman a lobster. Yes. Oh, here's one. Last year, about a year and a half ago, we're walking from a nice meal, a beautiful moment between a husband and wife. We're walking. She's got her arm in my arm, and we're walking. She's got her head on my shoulder, and we stop just short of the car, and she gives me a kiss on the cheek. And she says, I love you. And I said, I love you too, sweetheart. And then she says, if I'd known you were going to turn out to be the man you turned out to be, I would have had a lot more children with you. I know a lot of you are like me. You're looking for the compliment in there somewhere. I mean, there has to be a compliment in what? Turns out I was a fixer-upper when we got married, Had some issues. We were in marriage counseling at one point, learning how to argue. And we were bad at it. We were like children. At some point, when we were in the counselor's office, it would descend into something like, shut up. No, don't tell me to shut up. You shut up. No, don't tell me to shut up. And the counselor would go, children, calm down. So about 5 visits in, the counselor looks at me and says to me, Jeff, I get the impression you don't want to be here. And I said, I find it kind of ironic. Most of our arguments are around our lack of money. And here we are spending $200 a week to learn how to argue about our lack of money. And the counselor looked at me and said, shut up. I said, no, you shut up. I have a way with people. I really do. Silly arguments when you're married. We got into an argument at a costume party. Tammy calls me out on the porch. She says, you're acting like a fool. I looked at her and said, I'm dressed as a green bean. Come on. What's legume etiquette? I don't know. And then she starts yelling at me. I go, wait, I'm not going to take any abuse from a cucumber, all right? And you remember, we had our first big blowout. We were about 4 months married. A huge argument over a roaster chicken. I mean, only married people would fight over roaster chickens. I'd gone to take a nap, and I don't know if I was asleep 5 minutes or 5 hours. I'm waking up to the sound of a vacuum cleaner in my bedroom. I'm sleeping, and my wife is vacuuming. And then, anyway, I wake up, of course, and she says, oh, good, you're awake. I'm thinking that was the plan, And then she says to me, chicken's done. And I go, whoa, boy, you got to back up. I missed something. She said, no, you said if I cooked a chicken, you'd carve it for me. Chicken's done, carve the chicken. And I said, I never said that. And she said, yes, you did. You sat in the kitchen, that's what you said. I go, I never said that. She goes, that's what you said. No, I didn't. And then I remembered what I said. What I said was, I'm going to take a nap. If I'm awake when the chicken is done, I'll carve it for you. Now, I'll pause here while you all choose a team in this discussion. Yeah. And I'll tell you how naive I was. I thought that was the end of our discussion. I made my point. I wanted to go back to sleep. I rolled over and turned my back on my new wife. She got on the bed with both knees. Get up, you said you'd carve the chicken. Get out there and carve the chicken. You're not going back to bed. You carve the chicken. You hear what I said? I don't even know what this is about. I don't even know how to carve a chicken. Why don't you carve it? You can mutilate it as easily as I could. She says, I don't know how to carve a chicken either. You said you'd carve a chicken. Out there, carve a chicken. I go, all right. Carve your stupid bird. Now I'm walking to the kitchen. I'm not married 4 months. I'm already a mumbling idiot. I don't even like chicken. You want chicken, you go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. They'll carve it up for you. Well, you stupid chicken. Now I'm in the kitchen, not in a good mood. Got a greasy bird, got a knife, I got a fork. In comes my wife, who just told me she didn't know how to carve a chicken. Well, apparently there was a chicken carving class somewhere between our bedroom and the kitchen. Because everybody knows what happened next. Two little hands come out of nowhere. You're doing it all wrong. Let me show you how to do it. Stab the bird. Now I'm waving at her. Oh, yeah. She grabs my wrist and give me the bird. Oh, no, you're not getting this bird. And now, two grown adults, we have children, are wrestling over it. Give me, no, you look at, give me one. And at one point she goes, go back to sleep. Oh, I'll sleep like a baby now. What are you gonna run a jackhammer next? And I go, give me that bird. And I go, and the bird flies off the fork. It does like a 1.5 and lands right on her head. Boink. And she looks up at me with grease running down her face. I can't believe you just threw that bird at me. I didn't throw it. Yes, you did. She's on the phone with her dad. I married an animal. 37 years ago. We'll be at parties like a fundraiser where I'm working and we don't know anybody, and they'll find out she's married to the comedian. And they'll say, oh, that must be interesting. And Tammy will go, oh, well, you know, he tried to kill me once with a chicken. And in her version, I whipped it at her skull at 100+ miles an hour. I can always tell when she's telling her version, because at some point, 6 or 7 women turn around and glare at me. And now we're at a point in our marriage where she doesn't say anything. She just eye rolls and sighs. So when I say, what'd you say? She'll go, nothing. And technically, that's true. So I've learned to ask the right question, which is, what were you thinking about? Because that is what that causes the eye roll and the sigh. She looks at me, has a thought, and goes, So anyway, I walk out of the bedroom. This is months ago. Anyway, I walk out of the bedroom. She looks at me, and she goes, and I go, what were you thinking about? She goes, nothing. I go, no, you were thinking. She goes, you really want to know? Don't you love that? You really want to know? So I'm asking. Then she says, you want the truth? Oh, no, lie to me. You know? All right, I'll tell you the truth. Those pants, I can't stand them. And I go, you bought these for me for Christmas. And she says, yeah, I made a mistake. On the mannequin, they look good. On you, they look like clown pants. And I said, these are my quilty pants. They're fleece pants. I love them. In the winter, I wear them all winter. She goes, I know you do, and I don't like them. I abhor them. And I said, I don't care. I'm wearing them, you know. So a week goes by, and we have garbage day, right? So I'm wheeling the cart down, and I remember I have trash in the trunk of my car. So I pull the truck out, trash, and I walk in the thing. I lift the lid, and I'm not kidding you. Buried under it, I see a pant leg. It's like a, and right? So I dig down there, I pull them out. It's my quilty pants. I go, and I run in, and she sees them. She goes, oh, no. And I go, yes! You threw out my quilting pants. And then it dawns on me, I've been missing clothes for years. And my wife has been gaslighting me for years. She would say, oh, you probably left them in a hotel room, you know. You know how forgetful you are. And I'm going, yeah, that's probably it. And then it hits me, I'm going, my tiger pants. She goes, I threw them out, I'm sorry. And then I look at her, I go, my MC Hammer pants. And she says, they were burned. I burned? You burned? She goes, no, you burned them. I just put them under the leaves. You did the rest. You're a psychotic. And now I got this coat. I bought this coat. She calls it a pawpaw coat. She says, don't wear it around me. It's an old man coat. I go, have you seen me? I'm an old man. She goes, don't wear it around. So now I got my eye on it. She doesn't know this, but I put an Apple tag in it. So at least now, if I'm on the road, I'll get a notification that it's on its way to the dump. I can watch it on my phone. She's sick. Yeah. I mentioned we live in the country. We live rural Tennessee, and we've had issues about home security at our house. We have an alarm, but I told her at one point, let me back up. When I got married, my father, for a wedding gift, gave me a 12-gauge shotgun. I did that line in Alabama. It was like you could hear a pin drop, and they were all going, Okay. So anyway, when my father tells me in the next breath, he says, I recognized the shotgun because when I was a kid, my father hunted. He was a hunter, and I was the dog, basically, as a 9-year-old. They'd send me out ahead of everybody and flush out all the wildlife while lunatics fired 12 gauges over my head. And if that didn't kill me, the ride up would. He'd pack me in a car with 5 of his buddies after a night of drinking beer and eating hard-boiled eggs, so... Yeah, there was enough methane in that car to blow up a third-world country, man. And by the way they reacted, it was nitrous oxide because they couldn't stop laughing at me. They were just... The boy's green, look at him. So he hands me this 12 gauge, and I go, I remember, that's the gun when I was a kid. He goes, yeah, I got it. I'm giving it to you. And then he tells me the firing pins wore out on it. And I go, so he's giving me a broken gun. It had to be an afterthought. He goes, I got to give the kid something. Oh, I got this thing I want to give. So anyway, we have it in the closet. We move a couple times, and every time we move, Tammy pulls it out and says, what are you going to do? I said, my dad gave me that. It means something to me, so don't worry about it. So one night, we hear a crash in the basement, and we convince ourselves there's an intruder in the house. I don't know if anybody's been through this, but it's a frightening thing. And now I told Tammy, I'm going to go downstairs and confront whatever's down there, because I don't want them up here with you and the kids. But if you hear me scream like a 6-year-old school child, please call 911. So now I got to take something down to protect myself. And I remember I have the 12 gauge, even though it's broken and there's no shells in it. I'm thinking, pretty good bluff in America. I mean, really, you point a 12 gauge at some guy cocking, what moron is going to go, I'll bet you that firing pin's wore out. And if he wrestled it away from me and pointed it at me, I could go, it doesn't work. And bunny hop my way to freedom. So I'm thinking win-win for me. Nobody's gonna get shot with my gun. So anyway, now I gotta sneak downstairs. I don't want him to hear me coming, so I'm sneaking down the stairs. Right? And I'm telling you, anybody's been through this. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm perspiring, and I'm halfway down the stairs. And this is how my brain works. I'm going, you gotta look like Elmer Fudd coming down these stairs. Right? Made me laugh. So now I'm in the basement, I'm wiping my sweaty head, and I'm ready to flip the light on to surprise the intruder. Tammy yells from upstairs, all the way to the basement at the top of her lungs, Jeffrey, that gun is broken! I'm not a poker player, but I'm guessing any bluff I had went out the window at that moment. Point the gun at the guy, would that be the broken gun, Jeff? Maybe? Are you feeling lucky today, punk? So now we moved to Tennessee. We're in rural Tennessee. And at one point I go to Tammy and I say, look, I know you don't want working guns in the house. But where we live, if somebody breaks in the middle of the night, unless the officer of the law is on our couch eating a sandwich, it's not going to end well for us. We need to be comfortable with firearms. We need to take the classes we need to take and get comfortable with this. She reluctantly agrees. So anyway, we go to the range. She shoots. She drops the gun. She goes, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to shoot another gun. I said, all right, new rules. If I'm not home and somebody breaks in, start talking to the guy about his health. Yeah, bring up his cholesterol, his blood pressure, the stress of in the line of work he's in. His mom's probably not too happy about it. You know, just guilt him out of the house. That's what I'm saying. So I take a bunch of classes and I get comfortable with a firearm. So anyway, I buy a couple handguns. She makes me put them in the safe in the basement. Took me a couple days to figure out. Kind of defeats the whole point of home security. I'd have to convince the guy to let me go downstairs. Oh no, I got cookies down there. I'll bring them up. We'll have a good time. So now I gotta get a gun safe. So I go to the gun store. I say, I need a safe that only I can get in. So he sells me a biometric fingerprint thing. Apparently, out of 6 billion people on planet Earth, I'm the only one that can open this safe. So here's the theory behind home protection. You're sleeping. You hear a noise, wakes you up. Your wife goes, there's somebody in the house. And you go, I got this, don't worry about it. You reach over, safe opens, and you protect your home. Theory. We have a dress rehearsal one night. I wake up, there's a human being at the foot of my bed at 3 in the morning. I don't know if you've ever, it was her, but I didn't know it. I honestly thought somebody was ready to attack me in the bed. So she's sitting there and I go, I end up picking up the safe and I'm ready to throw it at her. And she's screaming, Jeffrey, it's me. And I go, oh, you. I could have shot you. She says, not from when I saw you, spaz. Holy cow. You know what she was doing at 3 in the morning? She was doing yoga in the front of the bed because she's got this neuropathy thing and her calves were cramping up and she's doing downward dog yoga in front at 3 in the morning. Now we don't even deal with it anymore. I have a noise uniform I put on if we hear noises in the night. That's her bathrobe and big fuzzy slippers. My theory is if there is a burglar, he'll look at me and go, I don't even want to confront the man that married you, lady. You know. So I'll leave you with this. She woke me up at 3 in the morning about a month ago. She wakes me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She goes, Jeff, wake up, Jeff, wake up, Jeff. It's Jeff Jenna, Jeff Jenna, Jeff Jenna. And I wake up, go, what about Jeff Jenna? She goes, that's the guy you worked with in New York. I couldn't remember his name. You guys were great. God bless.
I mean, we were getting calls from all over the country. And I'm back in clubs, by the way. I had gotten out of comedy clubs. I hit a certain age, and I came home and told my wife, I said, I'm the only one in the room that got older. And it was getting harder and harder to book clubs because I couldn't bring an audience in. So because of Dry Bar, we were wondering if audience my age would come to clubs. And they began to like what I did because I was bringing people. When you ask how many people have never been to a comedy club, 80% of the people. They were coming to see my show because of Dry Bar, and they were coming to a venue that they had never entered before. So the clubs loved it because it was introducing a whole new demographic to, and now the younger people are, I don't even, it's the millennials. I'm getting people coming to me, go, you were the only comic my parents let us watch when we were kids, so they've been watching me since they were 8, now they're 40. What does that tell you? It's like, makes you feel good.
Hey everybody, this is Jeff Allen. I am so sorry I'm unable to attend the awards ceremony tonight. I am at my podcast studio right now and I'm working a theater tonight in beautiful Lafayette, Indiana. Yes, Lafayette, Indiana. I cannot tell you how honored I am by this award. What Angel and you guild members have done to change the industry over the years, giving people like me a chance to share our craft and our stories with the world. 5 years ago, I did my first Dry Bar comedy special, and because of that, Angel Studios introduced what I do and what I love to do, and that's share the gospel as well as make people laugh with tens of millions of people who didn't even know I existed. So thank you so much for that, and I'm in the process of putting a new Dry Bar special together, and we'll taping it later this year, so maybe I'll see you next year. God bless you guys, and thank you again for this. What an honor.